There's not a ton of research on relationships between parents and adult children, but there is some that has classified the relationships and has come up with a model of these relationships. And this is called the intergenerational solidarity model. So this model surveyed 1,500 adults. These were mostly white American adults, 88% white. So it is somewhat culturally biased, but this is what we have so far in terms of research. And they whittled all the survey responses down into six different dimensions. And based on being high or low on different dimensions, you were classified into a certain type of relationship. So as we go through this, it might be helpful to think about your own relationship with your parents, with your mother versus your father, or maybe relationships between parents and children, among like your friends or celebrities, even just to kind of bring this to life more. And this will also be part of your assignment for this week, where you will have to kind of analyze your relationships along these six different dimensions. So one dimension is how far apart do you live from your parent? So that's distance apart. Do you live next door? Do you live with them in the same household? Are you across the country, across the globe from your parent? That's one factor. Another factor is frequency of interaction, which is often related to distance apart, but not necessarily. So how often do you go out with your parent, eat with your parent, do activities with them? And it can also include just calling them on the phone. How often do you talk to them on the phone or Skype with them these days? The third dimension is values and lifestyle agreement. How much do your values as an adult agree with the values of your parent and your lifestyle? So it could be high agreement. Maybe your parents are Christian, for example, and you're also Christian. Maybe they value hard work. You also value hard work. The way they live their life is similar to how you live your life. Maybe, they had children, you have children too. That's all agreeing. It could also be low. So perhaps your parents are very conservative and you're very liberal. Or perhaps your parents are evangelical Christians and you might have come out as gay or lesbian. That might have disagreement in terms of values and lifestyle. A fourth factor is feelings of emotional closeness, which is different from the other factors we talked about earlier. So, just how much emotional ties do you have with your parent? Do you feel very close to them? Can you talk to them about different issues in your life? Can you disclose things to them? And just how much emotional tie do you have with them? Another factor is feelings of obligation. So, they might be high. So maybe your single mother, worked very hard. She worked two or three jobs to put food on the table. You might feel like it's your turn to take care of your parent and to help your parent out as well. Or it could be very low. Perhaps, your parents neglected you when you were younger. You might not feel very responsible for them either when they're older. And then finally, there are exchanges of help. So, how much do your parents help you? Maybe financially or watching your kids, for example. And how much do you help them? Perhaps, calling Social Security for them or helping them to fix things around the house. That could also be high or low. All right, so the first type of adult child parent relationship is called tight knit. And this means you're close on all of the six indicators. So you live close to your parent, you interact with them frequently, you agree with them in terms of your lifestyle and values, you feel very emotionally close, you feel like you're obligated towards them, and you both exchange help a lot. The next type is sociable. So that's being engaged with your parent. So you might live close to them and see each other frequently, but you don't feel very similar to your parents, so low on values and lifestyle agreement, and there's not much exchange of help. Right? So it's more like being friends with your parent and not really feeling obligated, not helping them very much, and they're not helping you that much, and you're not very similar, but you're sociable. The third type is obligatory, where there is a lot of exchange of help and a lot of contact with your parent, but you don't feel very close to them and you don't feel very similar. So perhaps you just, for some reason you don't feel close to your parent, but you still help them quite a bit and they help you and you still see them frequently. The fourth type is intimate but distant. So you could be very emotionally close and have similar values, but you might just live very far away from your parent. They might live in another country or across the US. And so because of that, there's often little exchange of help. You don't see them very much. It's hard to help them with everyday tasks, and it's hard for them to help watch your kids if they live very far from you. So you can still feel very close, but they're just far away. And the last type is detached, which is actually low on all of the dimensions. So going back to the model, you don't live close to them, you don't interact with them very frequently, you disagree with their lifestyle and values, you don't feel close, don't feel obligated, and there's little help between you and your parent. So that tends to be detached. All right, so it's not always a neat fit, but they're able to kind of classify everybody in their survey into these 5 different types. And they found some patterns. So for mother-child relationships, that could be mother and adult daughter or mother and adult son. The most common type reported was being tight-knit, so being high on all of those dimensions, feeling close to them, interacting with them quite frequently, exchanging help, etc. So for mother-child, the most common was tight-knit. For father-child relationships, so that could be father-son or father-daughter, the most common was actually detached, so low on all of the dimensions. But again, this is culturally biased, so it could be different in different cultures. For parent-daughter relationships, there tended to be more ambivalence, where you might feel, positive on some dimensions, but maybe negative on other dimensions. Is kind of a more complex relationship. And for father-child or parent-son relationships, so those are any relationship where there's a father involved or a son involved, you tended to see more obligatory ties. So maybe not like emotional closeness, but you do feel obligated to help out, and there's a lot of that exchange of help with each other.